All I'm going to say on this tape is I'm doing the best I can with what I have here. I'm going to start off because I've told about my kidnapping and my real name, and I had written a book in 77, 78 about mind control, and it was done in patterns and programming. And this all started back with the Tesla, or maybe before, I don't know, but the early 30s when the Tesla information files were stolen. And then I was kidnapped in 41, brought to Moulton, Alabama from Buckingham Palace, given the name of a deceased twin, Peggy, and Carl. Both of them were dead. They were killed by their mother, Lina, who was, they were born out of wedlock. And I grew up in this pigsty being told I was this person. And I'll skip to, I put it in former videos and on Facebook, and all the media knew about my kidnapping before I did, actually, and they certainly know about the mind control murders. If they don't, you better stop and ask yourself why. I've told them, so I know they are aware. So I am a little disorganized, to say the least. I want to show here this morning, I've been telling about the mind control murders, and I wanted to, and I've told, it's a little hard because it includes timeline and a database. And if you don't have it, then you're not going to be able to put them together. But what you do know is something's bad wrong with this whole scenario that's been going on. I really got out there telling it with the Wayne Williams murders in Atlanta. And then I started finding out, I'm going to show Hustler magazine, Larry Flynt, because in 78 he was in Lawrenceville, Georgia, and shot in court. He was brought there under a subpoena that was kind of questionable then. But anyway, the guy that shot and killed his attorney and shot Mr. Flint was programmed. Now later in 83, when the KAL passenger jet was shot down by the Soviet jet because it veered off of into Soviet airspace. It was in flight from Juneau to Seoul, Korea. I'm telling this because Larry McDonald was U.S. Congressman and doctor. I had written about him, and Larry Flynt was shot, was the person programmed to shoot him. So in case I'm losing you, I'm just going to skip. I got a letter from the U.S. Attorney, June the 23rd of 79, of an ongoing investigation, national security involved. And April Fool Day of 80, I was still full of antifreeze. And a fiasco of what was done to me is so hideous. And I went to the emergency room because I knew something had been given me that was going to kill me. Man, you can tell. And it was stuck into my neck, and I understand now I was given a couple of sips. In fact, I know. Before that happened that night. And April Fool Day, I went for a tox screen to see if I could be saved or whatever it was, neutralized. And it was a fiasco from one to the other. None of the legal procedures were followed. And why did they skip me from one place to the other? They took my money. I ended up across the state line illegally taken over there and worked for the District Attorney Fred Simpson, Madison County District Attorney. So I'm going to, it was in 83 when I was flown to Flint's during the campaign to replace Larry McDonald. That was a special election. It was about that time and later I started finding out about my kidnapping. And I'm repeating this because all this has to do with the patterns. And what's happened to me, my father is the real King Edward VIII. He never married Wallace Simpson, an imposter did. And this whole thing about my father, has anybody bothered to look at the books and the defamation of character that's been done to him? They don't even mention my mother, Claudia Ruth O'Keefe Windsor, sister to Georgia O'Keefe from Madison, Wisconsin, and she had the Ghost Ranch out near Santa Fe. Um, so I have to say that to get people to know who my mom is because it was never told. She was legally wed. I was born in 39, the legal heir to the British Crown. So who's sitting there is illegal, Elizabeth, and her father, George, illegally helped take down my father. He helped kidnap me with Joe Kennedy. That's JFK's father. He was ambassador appointed by Roosevelt. Now I'm going to show this meeting in 39. They were planning my kidnapping. And then I'm going to try to go on to what I meant to zero in on today. This is my father, Edward VIII. And then I'm going to show the double that married Wallace Simpson. All of it a lie. Then I'm going to show George with Roosevelt. Uncle George had helped kidnap me, take down his own brother. And my O'Keefe genealogy. What I want to show now is I'm going to show the Kennedy here. This is his daughter, the granddaughter. She's granddaughter of Joe Kennedy, who was ambassador and helped my uncle George kidnap me, along with the Bilderbergers, the Rothschilds, and the Rockefellers, and the New World Order, the Illuminati, whatever you want to call them, the Freemasons. I wanted to list this one first today, if I can get to it here. I'm not able to organize it real well. Part of the patterns, and I'm just going to say this. Well, it's a mall shooting like the Westgate, and that really says it there. It's the Westgate Mall, what happened. I've said that in different tapes, so I can't get it all on this one. But first of all, they're just doing it, the mass shootings. And everybody's calling it mental illness or whatever. No, that's not what it is. It's mind control that has nothing to do with mental illness. You do a background check and you can get a lie because the person could have been programmed. You would or would not know it. So that's a bunch of crap. But this guy at the Maryland Mall, and that's the only thing I'm going to say about that is the College Park, yeah, and the Tyler. But really, what is important in it is the name. His name's Darren, which doesn't mean in the patterns, but Marcus Aguilera. So you can make the Aguilera fit too. You really can. But the Marcus is, without trying to explain, because you can't right now, to get someone to understand. His name was Marcus. So that's Mark. And the in Columbia, Maryland, the Columbine was that too. So anyway, this is that, and his name's Marcus is the main feature right at the moment. Now I'm going to go to the Giffords, who NASA. Um, Now then, that's Gabby Gifford, Tucson, Arizona. She was a congresswoman. I ran. I didn't get elected, but she ran, and she was a congress lady when she was shot. Her husband, and this all fits into a pattern very neatly, and by the way, even the names of the people who were shot. So you got in the Century 16 in Aurora, Colorado with James Holmes, who's a total victim of mind control. So I won't get off on that one. That is so horrific what they're doing to him. But